y'all, welcome back. And I know today is day 5 of World Carnivore Month. So many of you started on day 2 on January 2nd. And I've gotten a lot of great feedback from y'all that y'all have been loving the diet so far. So that's good. If you're hungry, eat. So don't forget to eat. That's very important. This is not one at the beginning that's a calorie restrictive diet. I do think that you will at some point plateau. And if you want to make extra weight loss, you will have to do intermittent fasting, more macro counting, things of that nature. So that will actually become more important as your weight loss and your weight loss journey continues. But at the beginning, we're not worried about calorie deficit, or at least I wasn't, right? I was worried about eating really good sources of protein through great meat, right? So meat, eggs. I did not limit dairy in my first couple months on carnivore. Again, when weight loss stalls, that's something that you'll have to start looking as dairy and cheese and things of that nature. So today is Sunday, which meant that I did not get my stuff together in time to put on the pot roast before church. So here we are post church. We went to Buff Burger. It was delicious. I'll put a picture here of what I got. I got a lettuce wrapped smash burger, and if y'all are in Houston, Buff Burger is delightful. It's very good. But we are a kind of normal family, right? As much as normal is. So in the carnivore community, you'll see a lot of people who homeschool, they work from home, they're entrepreneurs. They may not have to deal with the normal 9 to 5 demands on their life, which is great. I mean, I would love that too. But our kids go to school. My husband and I both work. I can work from home some. I do sales, so I have flexibility. He's in the office all the time. So it's very important for us to find sustainable things that we can eat that's grab and go. And then especially, I don't know how y'all are, but at the beginning of the week, Monday and Tuesday, y'all, I need something that's easy. I need something that's already done or very easy that I don't have to think about, because if I am stressed or I have a lot going on and I don't have something prepped, that's when I can have mistakes happen. That's when I can fall off the wagon. So if you're like me, then some of these tips and tricks in the video today will be super helpful for you. So what I'm going to make today, which is what I was originally wanting to put on before we headed out to church, is a Mississippi pot roast. I have a lot of great sauces, main dishes, things of that nature out on my Instagram page at ashley.calkin. You can check all of those recipes out. They're in the Reels section. Peruse some of those, but this is one of those that is a mainstay and it's a go-to. Depending upon how many pepperoncinis you put, which is the star of this dish, which you put in here, determines your spiciness, okay? So without further ado, let's hop in and make this Mississippi pot roast. Okay, let's quickly go through our cast of characters. Most of the time when you're making a pot roast, you're going to use like a chuck roast, right? And so this is a beautiful chuck roast that is probably a little bit more than 3 pounds, but it's fine. Anything around 3 to 4 pounds. If you go above up to 5 pounds or something of that nature, just make sure you season it adequately and then you cook it longer, right? And the longer you cook a pot roast, which is what we're going to be doing, and I'm going to be doing it in my slow cooker, hence the inserts right here. The longer you cook it, the more tender it gets, which is great. Okay, so a lot of pot roast recipes call for you to sear it. Oh, you have to sear it. That's where you lock in the flavor, yada, yada, yada. It's fine. I have gone to where I just don't even sear it anymore. I don't want to have to dirty a pan and then go and dirty this pan. And so it just makes it so much easier to season it and plop it in. So we're going to go in with our avocado oil spray. This will make all of your cleanup that much easier. And I kind of douse it pretty good. Now, I have people in my house who are not carnivore. That's fine, y'all, because what am I prioritizing? I'm prioritizing the meat. But I do have family members, kids, and my mom lives with me, and they don't do carnivore. So we try to stick to more whole food-based eating for them. So I'm going to put in some baby red potatoes, along with 1 onion that I went ahead and diced into quarters. And I'm just going to put those down here. Let me move this out of the way so you can see it. Down here at the bottom of the pot. And we're just going to put this around. And then also I'm going to put it on the bottom. And then I'm also going to go in with some baby carrots, because I'm not about the life, especially when I'm a carnivore. I don't really care about prepping vegetables, right? So the best part about these is you can kind of just toss them straight in here. And there you go. And that's what we're going to do with the carrots. So that's the extent that I'm doing for my family that's not carnivore. Let's move on to the good stuff. Seasonings on this pot roast are going to be super simple. I like to wear these venom gloves because it just keeps you away from all the grossness. So I'm going to go in very clean with my Redmond real salt. I'm going to liberally apply, and I'm also going to do the same with some black pepper. And the main thing is on this, I kind of want to get just a, like, you know, like a nice little coat on everything. And I'm not a huge pepper fan. Hubby is. I'm not a huge one. So, but that's all we're going to do is season it like that. And that's as simple as it gets. You'll notice over here that I have a half of a double stick. So that would be your traditional 1 stick of butter, 8 tablespoons, just sliced up over here, ready to go as well. The other things that I'll have is we're going to top it with some bone broth, pepperoncinis, which are the star of this dish, your good old ranch seasoning packet, which I love. I could have easily gotten out, you know, X amount of cloves of garlic. Didn't want to deal with it. So these are peeled and ready to go from H-E-B. We're going to use chopped onions in here. You can obviously dice up some onions in addition to the ones that I put in the bottom. Y'all, this is so much easier. If you don't have people who need other things, you don't even have to do the step of the vegetables, right? Like just leave them off. Not a big deal, and just put everything in there. And then this is some homemade McCormick's brown gravy mix. McCormick's. It's not. It's literally just a 1/4 cup of gluten-free flour or regular flour with a heaping tablespoon of Knorr's beef bouillon. Again, you do not need this. So if this is going to be a detractor or you're worried about it, just leave it out. It's so minimal, the amount that I use, that I'm not concerned about it. It never stalled my weight loss. Most of it is not going to be on the beef that you're eating. It goes into the sauce. And it just depends on how much sauce heavy you go on it. Okay. So if this is going to be a detractor, just leave it out. It's not going to change the flavor profile. And y'all, when I say this is falling off a log easy, it is falling off a log easy. So we're going to take our big chuck roast. We're going to lay it down in your crock pot. You are going to take the butter and you're going to lay it across your roast. So we'll make a beautiful little jigsaw here on our roast. It is going to be delicious. So there you go. And the next thing that we're going to do, I have my cheat sheet over here so that I know exactly what we're doing. The next thing we're going to do is we put the roast and we put the butter on top. We're going to sprinkle across some dried onions. When I say that I season everything liberally, y'all, I'm taking the lid off and I'm shaking it across because I like onion flavor. So there you go. And then the next thing that you're going to do is I'm going to put garlic cloves out and around. Now I put a lot. You do not have to put 7 or 8 cloves, kind of like I do. I love garlic, just love it. So I'm probably going to put 1 or 2 on top of here. And there you go on that. And then the next thing you're going to do, if you're going to use the brown gravy mix, you can be lazy and use the McCormick one if you're not worried about it messing you up. I just like to be able to control fillers and ingredients that I have, so I made my own. And I'm just going to go in with like a heaping tablespoon and go right across the top and the sides there. And that's as simple as that is. Then the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to take your delicious Hidden Valley Ranch packet, which, y'all, I know it's not clean. I don't care. You gotta live your life a little bit, right? And this is every bit worth whatever toxins it's in putting into my life. I love Hidden Valley. I love their ranch packet. I extremely love their buttermilk. And I kind of artfully am like just making sure I hit the sides all the way down. So there you go. We're good on that. Okay, and then once you have that fully done, we're going to put in some bone broth. I have been using this a lot to cook, so I have probably only about down to here, which is not even, it's probably like a half of a cup maybe. So I'm going to put a little bit on top, put a little bit around the sides, and I've used all of that. I would say you would want probably 1 full cup, especially because this is a big roast. So I'm actually going to open up some beef broth that I have and pour that in as well. Okay, so I ended up putting about almost a cup of this in there, which I thought was good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the star of the show, the pepperoncinis. I'm going to pour about 2 tablespoons of the juice on there. And then I'm going to grab some tongs real quick so that I can grab out probably about 3 or 4 of the pepperoncinis. There we go. All right, now we're just going to put the lid on that. We're going to put it in our crock pot, and I'm going to put it on high since it's almost 2:30 here now. We may not be eating this tonight. We may be eating it tomorrow, which is fine because then I have it prepped. I always laugh because we talk about how whenever I'm setting my crock pot, it sounds like I'm arming a bomb. It's ridiculous. So anyways, we're going to let that go. Everything's great on that, and we'll check back in afterwards. I will tell you though, that when I serve it tonight, if I serve it tonight or if I serve it tomorrow and I'm feeding the kids and my mom, I will absolutely put this in the microwave for a minute or 2. I can serve it over this. I can also make a side of green beans as well. Super quick for them, and it makes for a complete meal. Okay, and while it's storming something fierce here in Houston, I'm praying that the power doesn't go out since we've got our pot roast cooking for tonight and for tomorrow. So while that cooks, we have several hours to prep some other things. I'm obviously not going to be cooking the whole time that it cooks, but let's go ahead and put together some carnivore bagel bites. I do love myself some cream cheese. And of course, when you can't have bagels, it's a little sad. So we're going to recreate that in a carnivore sense. So we're going to take a pound of Jimmy Dean. I like to use the maple on this just because it lends itself to a more breakfasty taste. Okay. And we are going to recreate like a bagel bite. And these are fantastic for grab and go. They only make about 32 of them. So I'm just going to tell you, they don't last long enough to freeze. Now I could probably do double batches, but they come together so quickly that usually I just make them on a Sunday and we eat them throughout the week if they last the full week. So let's go ahead and get started. First things first, I'm going to put on my Venom Steel. Y'all, I love these. I will try to link them in my Amazon shop because they are hands down a game changer for me. They make everything mess free. And while I am trying to go to more non-toxic things, your girl still has her nails. Okay. So, and I don't like to get things stuck up and underneath them. So first thing you're going to do is take a bar of cream cheese. I only use Philadelphia because it's the best. I'm going to split it right in half, which ends up being about 4 ounces. And then I'm going to put it in my glass Pyrex bowl. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I like it to be more malleable and I have not been having mine sit out. So it's still very cold right now. So I'm going to go ahead and pop it in the microwave for probably like 30 seconds just so that it gets softened. So that was about 45 seconds in the microwave. It's just pretty soft at this point. We're going to open up our sausage and toss that in whole hog. There you go. Throw this away. And then I'm going to take off my glove quickly because I want to be able to measure stuff out. So the other thing we're going to use is this pork panko. Porking Good has some. I use this because it's readily found at H-E-B. We're going to put a full cup in. We are going to go in with about 3 tablespoons of this Nothing But the Bagel seasoning. And I just used the one from H-E-B. Okay, and then we're going to go in with 1 egg right on top there. Don't drop stuff like I. And then we're also going to go in with a full cup of mozzarella. So your traditional, drop some here. Your traditional sausage cheese bites are always that were, originally made with like Bisquick and stuff. They're always going to have like the sharp cheddar. I like the flavor profile with the mozzarella and the bagel and the cream cheese, the bagel seasoning and the cream cheese. I just find that it gives like a much better flavor. And then the last thing you're going to go in, I'm going to start mixing it. And then once I'm almost incorporated, I'm going to mix in about a half of a cup of this powdered Parmesan. And y'all, this does make a big difference. You want it to be the powdered stuff because if it's the shredded kind, it's not going to be as much of a binder as what you would want it to be. So just be aware of that. It would give a different consistency, a different, I mean, probably not flavor, but the consistency would affect the flavor profile of it, if that makes sense. And obviously, y'all, I would not normally be doing this in my Sunday best. Let's not kid ourselves. But we went to church, we went to lunch, got my delicious lettuce wrapped burger, then came home and I was like, oh, I need to get all this stuff on before it gets too late in the afternoon. So hence the reason we are doing all of this in our Lily Pulitzer best, but that's okay. So you're going to want to, this is messy, y'all. So if you have long nails, you're definitely going to want to have gloves on, like I said. But what we're doing is we're just really incorporating all of that together. And you want to make sure that all your seasoning, all your cheeses, all your pork panko, I kind of do like this twisting motion like this to just make sure that as much of that sausage gets in contact with the pork panko, and which is of course just pork chicharrones, pork skins that are just crushed up, right? So there's no bread actually in it. Okay. And you'll see how quickly that came together. It came together just like that. So the way that I like to do my sausage cheese balls, whether it's my cheddar sausage ones, it's these, or any myriad of ones we come up with, is I kind of make it almost like this rectangular log. And then I just split it down the middle, right? Move it off to the side, move it off to the side. And then I take the side, one of the sides, and I kind of make it into a log again, split it down the middle, okay? And then I kind of make it into a log again, split it down. I mean, I know that you're following here. And then we're going to split this down the middle again. And then this should be enough to make 2 sausage balls, right? So there we go. Split it down the middle, and there you go. It's the perfect size. So I thankfully was smart enough to make my pans with parchment in it already. And so I'm going to set one down there, and then I'm just going to keep rolling, splitting, rolling. And you see how quickly this comes together, and you'll get a good feel for it the more you make them. But it's no different than if you're Italian and you make, meatballs. It's kind of the same process. You almost get used to like what it should be like and how it feels, the weight feels in the palm of your hands. So, because you really want them to be consistently about the same size, right? It just makes it so much easier when they're cooking. Ones don't get burned or underdone or any of those kind of things. You can, of course, adjust as you go along. So I always laugh because no matter what, I end up with either 32 or 33 of the sausage balls. And so we ended up with 33 this time. And so you can tell that on the second one, I just kind of evenly spaced them and put them in a convection at 375 for about 20 minutes, and they should be good to go. So we've done a pot roast. We have the Carnivore bagel bites in the oven. That's a game changer starting your week with some of that stuff already done. If I wanted to, I could go ahead and do some sausage cheese balls that have the cheddar cheese and just the regular Jimmy Dean sausage. If you don't use Jimmy Dean, I can't guarantee the taste on your sausage balls. So, but a lot of good stuff like that. Some other go-to things that are really easy is you can get any type of link sausage, like hot dog sausages or any of those types of like jalapeno cheddar sausages and things. And you can go ahead and you can easily cook those that are already cooked, right? You just reheat them. You can also put them into a casserole dish with some sugar-free barbecue sauce. And that is a delicious go-to and feels like a treat. So there's a lot of things that are just easy, ready-made that you can grab and go. If you have some ground beef, then you can go ahead and cook up some ground beef and use it in a multitude of different ways. I'm going to do a video this week on all the different ways that you can prep ground beef bowls and have them in lots of really, really good, tasty ways. And then on top of that, try to think about how you can reinvent the rotisserie chicken. So we did that this week too. So if you're going to Costco and you're grabbing ground beef, you can have ground beef bowls, you can do rotisserie chicken, you can do a lot of leftovers that change up the feeling of that throughout the week too. And those are some good tips just as you carry, things to work for lunch. If you eat out for lunch, that's great. Always order a steak. I always enjoy that. But yeah, don't make it too difficult, right? Keep it simple, and you find that it's pretty fulfilling if you keep it simple. It might get a little mundane at times, but it's simple. And then when all else fails, breakfast for dinner, Costco bacon, heat it up, scramble up some eggs and put some cheese on them, and y'all, that's delicious as well. Okay, I want y'all to appreciate that this is the remainder of the Carnivore bagel bites. They were devoured by the children and myself. They were delicious. So the batch we made today will in fact not make it through the week. They barely made it to Monday. But they have the seal of approval from not only this carnivore, but her non-carnivore kids. And unfortunately, this has been going for almost 6 hours. But like I said, this was such a big roast that it's going to take a little bit longer. And we will not obviously have it tonight since it is 8 o'clock here. We had a different dinner. We had some leftovers instead. But yeah, so we have that to look forward to tomorrow. So when it finishes in a couple hours before bed, I will shred that up and put it in the fridge.